outrage audiences. We wanted people to leave the room upset, loving us, hating us, whatever, but nothing indifferent. That was the brand then. It wasn't putting any food on the table, but we were having a heck of a lot of fun. And it seemed like it became a challenge. The more that audiences didn't like us and that writers put us down, the more we were out to prove them wrong. And then after our first album didn't set the world on fire.
What was it called?
Pretty's for You. Very avant-garde. In fact, and there are people that love Pretty's for You. There's some in this room. There was recently in New York City, a band was put together by this guy, Nick Didkovsky, who played that album from beginning to end. This is only a few weeks ago. And the place was packed. I mean, the room was probably about this big, but the place was packed. People came from Australia, Italy, Sweden, and you know, but it's not for everybody. Frank Zappa liked it, so we got a record deal and got our foot in the door there, and that forced a lot of people who hated us to think, well, maybe we should give them another chance since Frank likes them. And most of them, they still weren't sold. But then we decided, you know, we're not, nobody's hearing our artistic statement because we're not doing anything relatable. At that point, if any song fell into any kind of a pocket, we would change it or give it the boot. We wanted to do sound collages. We wanted to be like Carline Stockhausen, the electronic guy, you know, in rock and roll. We didn't want notes. So we decided, you know what, we're not going to survive if we keep doing this. So we've got to make songs that are more relatable. So we started learning to do that, even though our second album we were put in the studio too soon. But even all the way back to Pretty's for You, we had this song called Fields of Regret. And at the time, you know, we were a pretty good cover band in our early days. We were the most popular band in Phoenix at the time. And Alice drew his confidence from, okay, he didn't act like he was Mick Jagger, but he had the confidence of, we're doing a Stones song. We had the amps and we could nail people to the back wall and all of that. So he had this courage that he sort of drew from, that he's not Vince, he's a singer in a rock band. But when we started doing original material, all of a sudden everything would be fine at rehearsals, and then we would play live and Alice would have his back to the crowd for most of the set. And we're like, what's going on? We didn't have enough gigs to realize it at first. You know, there'd be like a couple weeks go by and we'd do another gig and all of a sudden it would happen again. So I'm thinking, wow, he's like not feeling confident enough to face the crowd. So I got this idea, every song that we do, how about if you're a different character? So we had this song, Levity Ball, and Alice would pretend that he saw ghosts in the room and he'd look around like this. He still does that in the shows, you know, it's very effective actually. And I could have done this actually. I did a book event at Brooklyn Bridge Park, and we were outdoors. It was wonderful. I mean, so behind us was the river and lower Manhattan, sunset, Statue of Liberty, Brooklyn Bridge, and wonderful weather that day. And the thing is, I was talking about my book, and what I didn't realize is I was like this the whole time. So much for looking cool. Anyway, so as things developed, Alice found his courage, and this was because the audiences loved this dark song that we did, Fields of Regret, which had like this sort of biblical part in the middle where Alice would give sort of a sermon-like thing, and he would be this darker character. Well, when we would drop a song, we'd also drop the character. when we dropped that song, or evolved into something else, which many of our songs were doing in those days, I said, no, we can't, we got to write more songs for that character. In fact, that's the only thing that audiences seem to like that we do. So let's develop that character. So we were in New York City at the time, staying at this hotel directly across from the Civic Center. It's still there. It still looks the same, New York City. And there was a ballet, Joffrey Ballet, and this big poster of this clown with this makeup. And I'm, Alice, look down here at this poster. You know, look at the makeup that clown has on. If you wore makeup like that, people in the back row in a room could see, you know, your expression. So we went out and got some mascara, you know, with like probably all the money we could drum up between us at the time, and from then on, Alice wore the makeup. So, and the snake was Neil Smith's idea. Now, by then we had our brand also was this androgynous look, which was developed by, in our minds, with our, you know, we were in Phoenix, Arizona, playing little towns with cowboys, you know, and we're dressing very feminine and growing our hair. Back then, it was shocking. It's hard to imagine that then, but a lot of that had to do with the chrome fabrics that my wife, Cindy, who is here, Cindy's brother, Neil Smith, was the drummer of the original Alice Cooper group, and Cindy was there from the beginning, and she found our managers, and she designed our outfits and fed us and babied us and everything else. But that was our brand, was this outrageous, androgynous look. So glam rock was attached to what we were doing, theatrical rock was attached, and eventually shock rock, which that one seemed to stick. But these were all brands that we collaboratively put into this character that developed, and we pushed Alice out front, and we wrote songs to support that darker character. It took us a while, but that was, and then, you know, all the way back in Phoenix, Arizona, the very first show that we played in 1964 was a Halloween dance, and it was called The Pit and the Pendulum. And Alice and I got clothesline, white clothesline, and put up giant spider webs, and we got refrigerator boxes and cut it out and made coffins and painted it to look like wood, and we had tombstones, and we even had a friend whose father was a carpenter who built us a guillotine, 1964. And so, you know, that all took a full circle and finally came back around to where, you know, we're in Detroit at that time, where we're trying to follow the Stooges and the MC5. How do you follow that? We couldn't overpower them, so let's chop our singer's head off. Let's hang him. Let's electrocute him. And therefore,
the time.
well done. Well done.